What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Gabby, and in today's video I'm going to be reviewing and creating a look using the Wet n Wild Rebel Rose collection. So if you'd like to see what this entails, then keep on watching. Okay, so let's go ahead and open this up and see what it looks like. So you first open it and it's this I wouldn't say holographic because it's only shifts between a few colors, but you can kind of see how it shifts between like a silver to a blue to a pink, so that's really pretty. And then you open it up and it has 3 different eyeshadow palettes, a cream blush that looks a little bit scary because it's black, and then 4 different lip products as well as 2 brushes. So I'm going to open everything because you know how hard it is sometimes to open lipsticks and little compacts from the drugstore because they are sealed to no other. So I'm going to open all of this and then we can get a closer look, and then I'm going to play with some of this stuff and see what it looks like on. Okay, so I have everything unpackaged now. So I'm going to show you the brushes first because they're so pretty. It looks like a rose, naturally, since it's the Rebel Rose collection. This is the larger brush. I'm assuming like it's pretty compact, so you could probably use it for foundation, but I'd probably use it more for blush or bronzer. And the little petals under here are kind of flexible, so that's interesting. And then the other little brush is more of an eyeshadow like blending brush, and it's the same kind of thing. You know, it has that little rose design, and I believe, yeah, it has little flexible leaves underneath as well, so that's really pretty. And then it came with 3 different little quads, and I'll show you the first 2. So the first one is Secret Garden Rendezvous and Bed of Roses. I'm showing you these first because I actually already own both of these, so I'm not going to open these. I'm going to give these ones away. So I'll show you the used ones, so just bear with me, they've definitely been used. So the Secret Garden Rendezvous palette looks like this. So I mean, clearly I've dipped into this shade quite a bit. It's kind of a nice inner corner highlighting shade or under the brow bone. So those are these 4 colors, and I'm going to swatch those really quick for you as well. Okay, so I'll show you again. This is what they look like swatched. They're a little more muted than they originally look in the pans, but the top one is this one right here, and then the second one below is the highlighting shade, which is kind of hard to see here. You can kind of see it's reflective. And then that like navy kind of satin shade, and then the rose color, kind of mauve rose color is at the bottom there. So there's the first palette. Okay, and the second little quad is Bed of Roses, and here are those shades closer up. This one's really pretty, and I feel like all the shades work really well together. A couple of these palettes, like the next one I'll show you, you'll kind of see that the colors are kind of a bit odd together, but they're still beautiful. So I'm going to swatch these. Okay, so here is that swatched as well, and then the palette to compare. So the top 2 shades kind of transfer a little bit differently in a swatch, but they're still really pretty, and they have that metallic finish. And then the 2 bottom shades are matte finish, so you can see there. Very pretty. And then I am going to open a fresh one for the last one since I don't already own that one. Okay, and the last quad is House of Thorns. And this is the one I was talking about where the colors are kind of different together. You know, it has that like emeraldy kind of green shade, and then a matte reddish brick shade, and then a black. This looks kind of navy in the pan, but it's a true black. And then kind of this taupe color up here that's also metallic. So let me swatch those and see what those look like. Okay. So here's that swatched. As you can see, that red shade did not swatch very well at all. So this is the palette I was going to create a look with today. So I'm probably going to skip over that shade. As you can see, it's very patchy, not good at all. But the top 2 shades swatched really nicely, and the black is a little more of a dark gray. It looks like to me like a charcoal gray. So I'm still going to probably use that one as well. But yeah, like I said, that red is not looking good, so I'm going to skip that one. But I am going to use this palette today since I've already used the other 2 quads in a previous video. It was me trying different drugstore makeup products, so I'm going to go ahead and link that one down below. So if you want to check out how I use those palettes, you can see it there. But let's move on to the other things that I got in this little kit, and then we can create a little look. So a strange product is this cream blush. It's called Rose in Peace, and what's unique about it is that it is black. So from my understanding, it is a cream blush, and as you put it on, the heat of your skin and everything creates kind of a rose kind of finish. So we'll see what that ends up looking like. I'm kind of curious. I did already do my face makeup and everything. I tried not to powder or anything near my cheeks so that when I apply this, it applies as true as it can be. But I did use my Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation as well as the Photo Focus pressed powder. And then I use my regular Milani bronzer because I don't have a Wet n Wild bronzer. So I tried to stick with as many Wet n Wild products as I could today since that's kind of the theme of the video. And then moving on, we have 4 lip products. There are 2 High Shine lipsticks, and I'm going to swatch both of those for you. So the first one is Bud Romance, which is a cute name. And then it kind of is this like lavender kind of gray undertone shade. So this is what this one looks like. So it's pretty opaque. I feel like it'll be more opaque on my lips than on my hand, just based on the texture. So I believe this one does not dry down. It just stays that high shine finish. The second High Shine lipstick is Petal Poison, and it's a little bit more of a pink undertone. They're pretty similar, but you can kind of tell this one has more of a pink undertone rather than that grayish undertone. You don't really have a smell to them. A little bit more of a chemical smell, but not anything too harsh. So then there's this one. So yeah, I feel like that one's a little bit more of a wearable shade, but both of them are really pretty. I am going to go ahead and show you the 2 matte finish liquid lips as well. And the first shade is Kiss of Death, and it's kind of a dark reddish brown shade. I watch you as you dry. This one kind of goes on a little, it's hard to see on camera, but it almost has more of a red undertone once it's on, but it's really pretty actually. Some of these shades are a little bit unusual, but that's what I kind of like about them. And then the fourth and last shade that is matte is the Deviant Damsel, and this one's a true purple. So definitely not for everybody, but it's kind of a fun color to have in your collection. Do you know I'm looking, and I can't help but smile. And then there's that one, really pretty. Kind of almost a navy purple once it's on. And then I'm not sure if you're familiar with the applicators for these lipsticks, but they're kind of a unique doe foot. See how it kind of curves under so that it can kind of hold that product and go with the contour of your lips, so that's pretty cool. So, okay, now that we've looked at everything, I want to go ahead and put something on my face now. I'm dying to try some of these products, so let me zoom in just a little bit, and then we can get going on an eye look. Okay, so I'm all zoomed in. I did clip my hair back as well, just so we can have full access to my cheeks and everything. So I'm gonna wipe off these little swatches really quick, just so I don't accidentally get them on myself. Okay, so the High Shine lipsticks came off really easily. You can still see a little trace of the matte shades, but I'm sure an oil-based cleanser would get that off really easily. Okay, so I'm gonna jump into this palette now first, and like I said, since that red shade didn't swatch very well, I'm just gonna jump into this kind of tannish gold shade all over my lid, and it was a little bit of fallout there, so hopefully that's not too hard to just brush away. How much I love you. You put my face. It looks like it's a little bit patchy, but I'm sure I could blend that out. I put my feet up, and we just sing. Okay, so clearly I'm going to be working on that a little bit more, but you can see that it goes on pretty evenly with your finger, a little bit easier. I do like applying it initially with the brush sometimes, and then kind of patting additional color over the top of that. And I can't help but feel. Yeah, it seems that you can only work on one area at a time and kind of have to keep re-dipping just to get that color payoff. But honestly, that doesn't bother me too much, especially when palettes like this are so inexpensive. Working a little bit harder on blending isn't the end of the world. Especially when the end result is still something that's definitely wearable. This moment, can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time. Okay, so blending does take a little bit more effort, for sure. Don't you know? But as you can see, once you have that blended out, it looks pretty good. I would. So I'm going to do the same thing on this eye, and then I'm going to come back and we can add some more colors. 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? Forever. Forever. Okay, so I'm going to go in now and actually use the new brush since it's more of a fluffy crease brush. And I'm going to go in with that black shade to kind of deepen up my crease. You can see that it does look pretty pigmented on the brush. Oh yeah, okay. Okay, Okay, so this is kind of an odd handle to hold, and then it's kind of a little bit difficult to see the brush and how it's moving when you have this kind of big like flower bud thing going on around it.
I watch you as you sleep. You don't know I'm looking with you every.
Okay, yeah, so that's pretty. It kind of created that like smokier look. Okay, and you know, of course I can't just like not use this shade. It's so beautiful. So I'm gonna go in my inner corner with it actually. I've seen that being done here and there with different makeup look, having people go in that center corner with kind of a pop of color, and so I'm gonna try that.
Things complete.
Not sure how I'm feeling about that since it's so dark.
You know how.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go ahead and take that off. And then maybe we can just use that underneath my eye instead. Okay, so I kind of fixed that a little bit, but now we know, I guess, that that was not the greatest idea. I am gonna go on the outer corner of my eye.
I love you. I put your favorites.
It's so funny how that doesn't really translate as kind of that turquoisey color that I was hoping for, but overall I still think it's pretty. I am gonna jump in one of the other palettes, back to that Secret Garden Rendezvous palette, into that shade that I've definitely used a lot, and I'm going to kind of pop that in my inner corner because I feel like now I need to brighten it up with something.
On just to wake you up. When I dance around, I can't help but feeling.
Okay, and then I'm also going to just pat it in the center of my eye.
Loving this moment.
Okay, so it's pretty subtle, but you can still kind of see that it kind of brightened that center. So I'm gonna go and throw on some more mascara and my eyeliner really quick, and then I'll be back so we can try on that transforming blush. Okay, so I have my mascara on now, as you can see, and my eyeliner. It just kind of pulls things together a little bit more so I can focus on other things. So let's jump into this cream blush now. I'm really excited to see how this turns out. If you look really close, I don't know if you can tell, but it almost has like gold glitter in there. So I'm gonna use my fingers for this just because I feel like you almost need that heat sometimes. Oh my gosh, that's super creamy. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so you can kind of see it still almost has a hint of black in it, but it still has that kind of rose finish. So I'm just gonna pop that on.
Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here?
I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it still has kind of almost a, I don't know what word to use, like dingy almost, or like gray, like veil over it. The color is pretty, and like in person it looks a little more pink than it's translating on camera, but you can still kind of see that grayish like film over it. And even when I'm getting it on my finger, you can see that. I'm still going to use it for this video just so you guys can see what it looks like. And then, you know, see it, look how black it is when it goes on before I blend it out.
Together, if I could stop the time, don't you?
I mean, it does blend pretty well. But yeah, I just don't know if I can get over that kind of, I hate to say, but like corpsey finish.
Know that I would, 'cause
I know it's weird, but I always put a little blush on my forehead because I feel like the sun where it hits you naturally is kind of where blush should go. So I don't know, I have mixed feelings about this. I feel like it blends really well. The color is kind of interesting, but maybe I could try it as an eyeshadow base. I don't know, but it's not my favorite thing for blush. So I'm going to move on from that one for now. Let me just throw on some highlight real quick just before we move on to lips because I feel like I need a little bit of highlight going on. So I'm going to use the Wet n Wild Make It Glow highlighting powder in the shade Golden Flower Crown. And I know this isn't a highlighting brush, but I haven't used this yet, so I'm just going to use this for the sake of this video as well. I'm just going to dip in there and then...
just loving this moment. Can we stay here
and I'm just going to throw this on my brow bone as well. Might as well while we're here.
forever?
Okay, perfect. So now let's try on these lips. I know you guys are probably really excited to see what these darker shades look like. I am obviously going to start with the lighter shades and work my way to the darker shades. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm jumping into the High Shine lipstick in Petal Poison first, kind of pink undertone shade.
Forever, forever, forever.
Okay, so as you can see, it's a really pretty shade. It's not too far off from my natural lip color, so I could definitely gravitate towards this again in the future. It's not sticky. It does feel pretty thick when you're first putting it on, but overall I think the shade's really pretty and would look really nice with this eye look. So I'm going to take this one off and then we can jump in and try the next one. Okay, and then now the next High Shine shade is that kind of lavendery shade. So I'm curious to see what this one looks like on. It's the shade Bud Romance.
I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever?
Okay, so I had to work with this shade a little bit more than the other one. It's not as opaque, but I didn't figure it would be just with this formula. I feel like it does cover the majority of my lips, and surprisingly, I don't hate this color. It still makes my teeth look white. It has that same consistency, so it's not super sticky or anything. It is pretty thick. I kind of don't mind that because then I feel like it's going to stay a little bit longer. So overall, I think it's pretty. With this cheek, it almost kind of goes with that like corpsey vibe, but you know, sometimes people are into that, so no hate on that. I think I'll probably still use this in the future just for fun, so I'm gonna remove this one now, and then we can jump into the matte liquid lipsticks. Okay, and they're very easy to remove, those ones. So I'm gonna jump into this brownish shade, brownish red, and it is the shade Kiss of Death. I love that name. And we'll see what this one looks like. Much thinner of a formula, but I expect that with a liquid lip.
Loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here?
Okay, so obviously you have to focus a little bit more when you're putting on a liquid lipstick, but I feel like this is a really pretty color, especially for fall and winter. I don't usually gravitate towards brown shades whatsoever. I don't know, it just isn't really my style, but I feel like with that reddish undertone and like a smoky eye like this would be kind of a really fun kind of winter sultry look. So I like that. And obviously if I was going to be wearing this all day instead of just for this video, I would probably pair it with a lip liner and focus on the application a bit more. But for a quick application, I think I did pretty well. So one last look at that. And it is already drying down. It's a bit in that like sticky dry down phase. So I'm gonna wait for this to dry completely really quick just so we can kind of see what that's like, and then going to move on to the last shade. So I'll be back in just a couple minutes. Okay, so I'm back. It actually was less than a minute and it feels completely dry now. So no transfer. That is to be expected with liquid lipsticks. So I'm going to remove this one now. We'll see how hard that is, and then I'll jump into that last shade and I'll give you my final thoughts on this collection. Okay, so that was really difficult to get off just with a regular makeup wipe, but I did just put a little bit of oil on there and it was able to kind of dissolve it and it was fine. So I'm going to move on to the last shade now, and that is the shade Deviant Damsel, and it's that dark purple shade.
Forever, I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment.
Okay, so as you can see, this is a very dark purple shade. It's really pretty. I'm going to go ahead and take my hair down now since I'm done applying everything, and wait for that to dry down a little bit while I give you my final thoughts on everything. So firstly, obviously these brushes are adorable. I'm not sure the design is necessary, but you know, for aesthetic purposes, they're really beautiful. The bigger brush is definitely easier to use than the tiny little blending brush, just trying to like watch where you're placing the brush. But once it's on your eyelid and you're blending, it's fine. So I'll give these ones a thumbs up for sure. And then these little quads, I've noticed that there is sometimes a shade in each one of these that doesn't quite transfer the way I wish, but for the price, I mean, I think they're pretty great. I definitely use the other two that I've already owned pretty often, so I would definitely say these are a win as well. The blush, I'm gonna have to give this one a thumbs down. I just don't feel like you get the color payoff, and it still kind of leaves that grayish veil over everything, so if it was just based on blending, it would be great, but for the actual color payoff and the final finish of everything, I'm going to have to pass on this one. Moving on to the lips, I really love these high shine lipsticks. I feel like they're very wearable for most people, and you could definitely just throw these on with pretty much any eye look and be good to go. Obviously, these matte shades are a little bit different in the terms of everyday color wear, but I feel like I said, when I wore this one, it'd be really pretty for fall and winter, or any time of year if you're really into a kind of brownish red shade, then this is definitely great, and they last really well. I've had the Liquid Catsuit matte shades before, specifically the black one. I've used that in previous videos, and I really love that. And then this shade, it's almost dry now, so you can see, and it still kind of has that satin finish, which I think is really pretty, especially for a matte shade. So yeah, it's dry now. It's not transferring whatsoever, but it still almost looks shiny, which I think is pretty cool. So it looks like it is patching just a little bit, but I think that's because I was pressing my lips together before it was dry. So that's obviously a quick fix. I know with the black one, if I press them together too soon, that happens. So overall, I love the aesthetic of this collection. It's kind of a little more dark and mysterious and just fun, kind of get you out of your comfort zone a little bit. So I do recommend it. The only really downside of the whole palette was this cream blush, and I'm sure it would work great for some people. So I wouldn't dismiss it completely, but it is not for me. But other than that, let me know down in the comment section what your favorite product was today, and let me know what else you'd like to see from me moving forward. I would love to do some more makeup videos, and I know you guys really love those clothing try-on hauls, so let me know what you want to see moving forward, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. Bye, guys.